So, welcome to our Mothers Out Front Massachusetts Climate Action Call. My name is Diane Sokol. I'm a member of the Brookline chapter, and I also work with the statewide team. So, for those of you who are not familiar with the Mothers Out Front Climate Action Calls, in the next 45 minutes, you will learn about a specific climate issue and we will take focused action together. Today, we will be learning about our new Massachusetts statewide campaign called Clean, Affordable Heat Now. We had a 2024 climate bill win just before the end of the year, and our legislative team is continuing with new priority bills in the State House for this new two-year session. So here's a quick preview of the agenda for today for today's climate action call. After a brief overview of today's focus, we will divide into breakout rooms for just a few minutes so we can connect with each other. We will rejoin the main room to hear the background information about our topic today, and then we'll move on to our action. We have set aside about 15 minutes of this call to take action together. We will all come back together for a few important announcements and next steps, and we will end this meeting promptly at 12:45. We do hope you'll stay until the end. So before we get going, I'll quickly go over a few norms for this meeting. Please rename yourself in Zoom to include your name, your city or town, and if you like, an organization you're with. Be sure to mute yourself when we are together in the main room if you are not already muted. You can use the chat to share comments or questions during the call, and closed captioning is available. You should be able to access that tool at the bottom of the screen. And finally, we are recording this climate action call. If you do not want to be seen in the recording, please use the Zoom controls to turn off your video. So today we will be learning about the new Mothers Out Front Massachusetts statewide campaign, Clean, Affordable Heat Now. The new statewide campaign builds on our recent legislative victories and addresses additional steps needed to achieve an equitable, safe, and affordable transition off fossil fuels. We will hear about our priority legislation in this new legislative session, and we will be contacting our state reps and state senators to ask for their support of these key bills. But first, we're going to give you all a few minutes to connect in a small group with a few other participants. Since it's been a while since we've had a climate action call, and much has changed in our state and in Washington, D.C., we wanted you to speak about what brings you to Mothers Out Front and what are you excited about contributing to the movement this year. So Deb will put this question in the chat. Thanks, Deb. When we go into these breakout rooms, briefly introduce yourself and be sure that each person gets a chance to speak. When you see the 15-second countdown, use that time to wrap up your conversations. You will automatically rejoin the main room. Have a great time connecting, and we'll see you in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. I hope that you all had some good discussions. I will now hand over the presentation to Charlotte Dobbs from our statewide campaign team and also the legislative team. And Charlotte will present some of the background material today.
Great. Thanks so much, Diane. So last month, we were together over 100 strong to discuss and vote on the new campaign. If you were there, the beginning of this presentation will be a reminder of what we're planning for 2025 and 2026. Our campaign has 3 interconnected parts that will help our state accelerate the transition to clean heat. 1, we will work to stop new large gas pipelines. 2, we will build local momentum and pressure for neighborhood electrification. And 3, we will help to pass statewide legislation that continues the transition away from burning harmful fossil fuels in buildings and towards electrifying our heating and cooling. So let's quickly take a minute to step back on what we're trying to achieve in our campaign overall. Massachusetts currently relies heavily on natural gas or methane to provide heat in the built environment. Methane gas is bad for our climate, our health, and our safety, and we are working to help Massachusetts transition successfully away from this antiquated system. This diagram shows at a very high level the path that methane gas takes as it is produced, transported to Massachusetts, and then distributed to homes around the state. There's a lot of complexity between where the gas is extracted and the system that brings it to our homes. The 3 parts of our campaign address different parts of this complex system. So the first part of our campaign is Stop New Pipelines. In this work, we plan to join coalitions and follow the lead of our allies. Along with an interstate coalition, we are committed to fighting Project Maple, which is depicted in the image here, a massive proposed interstate transmission pipeline that would span from New Jersey through to Connecticut and Massachusetts. Tactics might include focusing on the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, as a major decision maker and pressuring Governor Healy to take a stand against the project. We will also join with the Springfield Climate Justice Coalition and Mass Power Forward to fight high-pressure mains like the Greater Springfield Pipeline. Tactics here might include interventions on state agency permitting, joining rallies and protests, and promoting petitions or educational events. The second part of our campaign is neighborhood electrification. Neighborhood electrification means strategically converting a street or small neighborhood to electric heat and taking it off the gas network, where it's more cost-effective to electrify than it is to dig up the streets and replace gas pipes. This could be done either with networked geothermal, as is shown in this image, or air source heat pumps, depending on the local conditions. The 2024 climate bill gave gas companies the option to provide thermal energy instead of gas, and gas companies have already started flagging streets as candidates for what are called non-pipeline alternatives, in essence, electrification. We have that street-by-street information, and we can now help those communities think about the new options that are available to them. So over the course of our campaign, we will work at the local level to boost awareness about alternatives to gas, engage with municipal governments about the options that are now available to them under the new law, and help residents and municipalities communicate their support for neighborhood electrification to the Department of Public Utilities and to state legislators. There's a lot more to say about this part of our campaign, and you'll be hearing more about this work soon. If you're interested in taking part in either our neighborhood electrification or Stop New Pipelines working groups, let us know. We would love to have you on those teams. Okay, on to the third part of our campaign and the focus of today's action, state legislation. Building on our 2024 success, we will prioritize 3 bills. The first is focused on preventing gas pipeline expansion. The second is the next Clean Heat Bill, which builds on our gains in the 2024 climate bill. And the third gives a role to municipalities and gas pipe replacement work in support of our neighborhood electrification goals. We will also support 3 bills that are priorities of our environmental justice allies, focused on outdoor and indoor air pollution and utility accountability. The first bill is titled An Act Preventing Gas Expansion to Protect Climate, Community Health, and Safety. It is a campaign led by the Springfield Climate Justice Coalition and Mass Power Forward. It halts new and expanded high-pressure gas pipelines within 5 miles of an EJ community. And the coalition also added a prohibition on new or expanded gas plants near environmental justice communities. This will limit the expansion of gas plants in many parts of the state. Our second priority bill is the new Clean Heat Bill, which is titled An Act Relative to a Tactical Transition to Affordable Clean Thermal Energy. It will ensure that the inevitable and necessary transition of the building sector from gas to modern, efficient, clean energy occurs in the most strategic and cost-effective way possible. So this bill facilitates a strategic and efficient transition from gas to clean energy by requiring gas and electric utilities to proactively and jointly plan for the transition. And it incentivizes gas utilities to install modern clean energy infrastructure rather than wasting ratepayer money on costly, soon-to-be obsolete gas infrastructure. It also provides resources for the transition to clean energy and ensures the safety of the existing gas system while providing an equitable transition for gas workers. The third bill we are supporting is an act relative to municipal voices in gas utility work. This bill requires gas companies to disclose their pipe replacement plans to municipalities, and it gives the municipalities the ability to review and comment on them. The DPU can intervene if there is disagreement between municipalities and gas companies about how to address a particular area. So in addition to our priority bills, we are supporting 2 air quality bills in solidarity with our partners at the Environmental Justice Table. The Outdoor Air Quality Bill establishes a process for identifying pollution hotspots and taking action to mitigate air pollution impacts. The Indoor Air Quality Bill will enable the development of guidelines and a process for addressing indoor air pollution in high-risk buildings. We are also joining with Mass Power Forward in supporting a bill that makes energy more affordable by prohibiting utilities from charging us for their political lobbying activities and lavish promotional expenses. So the unified focus of the whole climate coalition was key to our success in 2024. We have a lot of savvy organizers who understand the issues, and we have the expertise to educate each other and legislators on the importance of these bills. Giving the 2024 climate bill teeth will likely provoke more opposition from the gas companies and the legislators most influenced by them. We'll need a loud voice backed by many individuals and municipalities to accelerate the transition to clean heat. Okay, it's time for action. I'd like to introduce Andrew Rose, who leads our legislative team, to explain our action today.
Hello. So today's action will be to urge our state representatives and our state senators to co-sponsor our priority bills. You'll be sending out 2 emails from your own email account, one to your state rep and one to your state senator, using a sample email that will outline the 6 bills that we are supporting and ask them to co-sponsor the bills. We've prepared an action toolkit for you to follow today. Deb, can you put the link to our toolkit into the chat, please? You'll copy and paste the email text from the toolkit into your own email. It's always best to modify the introduction to the email with something personal about why you care about climate change. Please click the link in the chat to go to the action toolkit, and that will outline what you need to do to take action. Deb, can you put the link to the toolkit in the chat again? We are all going to be quiet for the next 15 minutes so we can take the action together. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat or unmute yourself briefly if it's a quick question. If you're really struggling with the tech, don't worry. You'll get all of these instructions by email later today. But if possible, get them done right now. And we'll all come back together at 12:40.
Thanks, Deb, for restarting the recording. I think we'll go ahead and just go through a few final slides, and then you can finish off your emails later. So I hope that you all had success with your actions. These climate action calls really make me hopeful about the power we have when we're working together. And it's going to take a lot of people to tip the scales in favor of real climate solutions. But working together and with our allies, we build our movement a little bit bigger and a little stronger. And we raise our voices a little louder, and a few more decision makers are sitting up and listening to us. And that is the power of our movement. So I put this in the chat, but later today or tomorrow, you will receive a follow-up email. It will have links to a recording of this call, to the slides, and also to the toolkit we shared today. So that's an easy way to forward this to your by email to your network. And please do share it with friends and neighbors across the state of Massachusetts. It's really important to reach all legislative districts, and you can share what you learned today in this call. So Mothers Out Front hosts a welcome call the second Friday of every month at noontime. And we have one coming up on March 14th from noon to 1 p.m. So if you have asked yourself, what more could I be doing to stop climate change? Then you should join us on this call. We help you to identify the U-shaped hole in this movement to find ways that you can use your unique talents, your skills, and your experiences to help build a stronger, more effective, and more inclusive movement for change. So please join us on March 14th and bring a friend. And Deb will put the registration link into the chat for that one. And finally, we want this climate action call to be on your calendar every month. Deb will drop this last bit of info into the chat. Our next climate action call will be in early April. We are confirming our date and welcoming back a special guest presenter. So you won't want to miss this call. You'll need to watch your email for the announcement and registration link. So thank you again to our statewide legislative team and statewide campaign team, and many thanks to all of you for joining together in our action. Let's strengthen and amplify our message by spreading today's action through your networks across the whole Commonwealth. Thank you.